I'm a normal person. I've lived a normal life. I have a normal family and normal friends. My pets, habits, and desires are all normal. Out of all the normal people on this planet, why did it have to choose me? I suppose you want to know what I'm talking about. It started when I was taking my pet dog out for a walk. I don't really like to take my dog for a walk, but I do it anyway, for her sake. It was about 8:30 at night, and I had just finished my homework. It was late fall, so it was extremely dark. As I walked down my porch steps, my dog began barking at the bushes in front of my house. I pulled her back as my neighbour's cat sprang from the bushes to escape my dog's attempt to chase it. It took a second for me to realise that I wasn't in any major danger, but when I did, I took a deep breath and continued walking. The streetlight at the end of our street was burnt out. Just beyond the dark curtain cast by the lack of the streetlight were the woods I took my dog to. She was an interesting dog, only seeming to go when she was in a forest or in some bushes, going outside of them only if it was an emergency. We walked through the darkness to the tree line, and my dog went in. Suddenly, I froze. Was that a pale face I just saw out of the corner of my eye, or just some leaves caught in the moonlight? Now somewhat afraid, as I have yet to shake the irrational fear of the dark that every child has some time in their life, I realized that I had left my flashlight at home. My parents always scolded me for not bringing it, but I just kept forgetting, as it was somewhat out of the way of where I needed to get the leash from. I braved my fears and continued to move down the hill along the tree line, deeper into the forest. My dog would have noticed if there was someone there. She always barks at people. It must have just been the leaves. Just as that thought crossed my mind, my dog began to bark. Instinctively, I tugged on the leash to keep her from running after whatever she was barking at. She reluctantly walked backwards towards me, still facing whatever she was barking at. She ceased her barking after a few more seconds and led me further down the hill, not finished with what we came for. As we reached the bottom of the hill, I heard some rustling coming from the bushes. My dog didn't take notice, as she was getting busy. I, however, decided to take a defensive stance that I had learned in karate class a few days ago. Whatever was there, if there was anything, wouldn't catch me off guard. After a few seconds with no sounds or movement other than the wind, I took a tentative step forward. Whatever was there, if the rustle wasn't just the wind, must have left when it saw me or my dog. Just then, the wind blew slightly harder, and I could almost make out the words in the whistling, "Don't turn around." I didn't think much of it, as I didn't hear it for a second. However, the phrase repeated, slightly louder this time, and I froze. Then I felt it. There were thin, sharp claws poking into my back and on the side of my neck. They were placed so softly that I wouldn't have noticed it without any lack of movement, which is rare for me. Slowly the claws started pushing on me harder, and in a panic I spun around, flailing my fist and leash. Branches. Of course they were only branches. Why the hell would some creature just not slaughter me with its claws against my neck? And what kind of creature has claws but speaks English? My mind has been playing tricks on me in my fear. My dog had finished, and we started to head back up the hill. All I could see was a bit of the light from the working streetlights ahead. However, I started to feel weak, as if I was winded from walking up the hill. I released my grip on the leash, and my dog trotted off ahead of me onto the street. I was on all fours now, struggling to stand up. That was when I noticed the long, sharp, jet-back blades that were the darkness claws piercing my abdomen. Blood slowly dripped from their ends. They were so sharp that I didn't even feel them slip through my body. I dropped to the ground, defeated. The darkness had me. 3 hours later, I was in a hospital room being operated on by surgeons. Apparently they thought I had tripped and impaled myself on some sharp branches sticking out of the ground. The fabrications people make up to rationalize unusual events. I will never leave the light again, because next time I do, I won't be strong enough to survive the darkness.